Love Live. Woo! Well, we had to let it breathe. To come up out of this black magic, boy, we gotta let it breathe. We finna come up out this black magic together. We finna come out this black magic together. I usually jump right on in, but right now, maybe give us what we're gonna do. Give you a 10-minute countdown for the two inclinations, for the 5 lower and the 5 higher, for the 5 inner and the 5 outer. Then give y'all time to come in because this is about to go down, y'all. It's about to go down. The truth is here. So it's about to go down. The truth is here, so it's about to go down. The truth is here, so it's about to go down. You know, we don't hold no secrets, and we don't keep no secrets. To keep a secret or to hold a secret is to keep my community and family and myself from the truth. Yeah. That's on right now. I'm gonna let y'all be right there. I'm gonna let y'all be. I'll grab my phone. Yeah, it's about to go down. It's about to go down. You see the title, so you know it's about to go down. It's about to go down. It's a certain group of people that has been hiding the truth, and we got it uncovered. And we got this uncovered. Come on in, come on in. You're gonna get the best meal of spiritual food. We're gonna get started at the 10-minute mark. Because we're gonna do this and we're gonna get on out of here. I've been on this trail of study. This particular understanding and the quietude of my own mind. It's not that important, bro. Come on in, and we're gonna begin in 10. Come on in. We're gonna begin in 10. Come on in. Speak truth. If you come to hear truth, come on in. You cannot alter the nature of truth. We're finna distinguish truth from error. Come on in, come on in. We're gonna begin in 10. Uh-oh. 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 No secrets. For a secret is just a More's ability to delay God. Ooh. Delay the truth from another more. Ooh. We're redefining truth here. We're redefining truth here. First of all, first thing first, we love Allah. And Allah loves Noble Drew Ali. Noble Drew Ali, if you haven't heard of Noble Drew Ali, he is the holy prophet who brought forth this great grand seeker. And so you know those, let's see, that's a secret is just one more's ability to delay the truth from another man, from another self. Here we go. A secret is just one more's ability to delay the truth from another self. Oh yeah, we coming in. This is what's been going down. This is what's been going down, y'all. There's been a secret kept by someone's ability to hide the truth from another. And we don't find out who are the specializers in that practice. Oh yes, we finna get ready to light it up and begin with my more, like they say, and I love all righteous people. This gonna cause me some pain. Yeah, this gonna cause me some pain. So I want y'all to bear witness. That the truth gets you angry, meaning it brings pain. So I got it hit from the cannabis plant. Number 19. Because my people have suffered. Suffer is pain. It was pain from body and mind to experience these two experiences. So by the laws of what? I believe and follow my creator, Allah, teaches me that if I'm in pain, that I can eat or smoke from the cannabis plant. So let's begin. All right, so we finna get this popping. We in America, we are not Moors. I repeat, in America, we are not Moors. I am not Moor. We are not Moors who are righteous by nature. So now we finna understand quickly. We're gonna bring in another Edamon too. To why we gotta bring this up. Because the people who is like, who are the Moors? Well, let me make it simple and easy. They say, who are the Moors? Well, let me make it simple and easy. The people that called you black. The Moors are the people who called the people, especially of North America, currently black. On the screen, we have the evidence to verify my words. Who called the indigenous people who they was not? The Moor. What is the footprint left by the Moor to know who called the indigenous people of America black? A Moor. What is a black or Moor? An African. An African. So you have black African, you have African American. These are Moorish titles. Now, this is very key here because we're going to go into a deep dive. I'm going to try to go as slow and fast as possible. So now, the ones who called us black was the Moors. The ones who called us black when we are indigenous people was Moors, a Moor. What is a Moor? A North African of the Berbers, Barbary, the race dwelling in the Barbary. You see? Then this word Moor goes back to Moros, which means black. So the people who done this to the indigenous people are called Moors. What did they do? They took away their concept of self by transforming the knowledge that will go into the mind of that self. And this is what is called Moorish magic. So keep that in mind as we move forward. So this is what commonly became known as black magic. So before a Moor put black on the indigenous people, of North America, what was the original people of North America named before the Moor put black on front? This way you could trace back what the Moorish got it from. So when we talking about the great shift or the great alteration of history begins with Moorish history. A Moor changed the name of the indigenous people from Arab to black. So as you see, Arab is the indigenous name of the people. So you see the Greeks say, these the people that can rap. These indigenous people, they can do something called a rap. They can bust a rap or make raps. They would call them a rap. So this is why a rapper is so popular today. So this is before any Moorish thought. This existed before any Moorish thought. This is what the Moorish history wanted to erase and rewrite. So the indigenous people are called Arab or Rabba. That's how I say it. Now, we must have our text that verifies this, because their text not going to verify it. They changed it. So here's the spelling of Arab, Araba, Arab. You just put the M in front of it. So if you put the M in front of it, look what words you get. What the Africans stole. Amor. So this is why the Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali said, dirty Moors. Because the people who changed our original to something that we was not, that's a dirty act. And those who did that are called Moors. And they hyphenated the name, and they get more out of more raw. Or raw. Now, we want to understand something here. So who changed it from Marab to Arab? Number 4, let the truth be now revealed concerning the most ancient people, known as the Marab. This is the indigenous name for the ancient people before a Moor sailed sea. And we're going to come to find out that the Moorish are the sea peoples. So now let's keep going. Known as the Marab and the Arab to the Romans and Christians. This who became your Moors, Romans, and Christians. Romans and Christians are Moorish. So we're gonna, I know that's thumping right there already. Right. So now you know where M-O-O-R comes from, or M-U-R comes from. It comes from Marab. And you said, how does this tie us into anything. Well, remember the name Marab or Rob is the same name as Abraham. Abraham. Abra is Arab. The father of the Arab or the Marab is Abraham. And Abraham is the word Marab in reverse. Abraham, Marab, is the father of all of Arabia. So the Moors don't claim Arabia. This is where it becomes distinct to Moors and Arabs. Arabs are from Abraham, Moors are not. This is why they call dirty Moors. So all the people in history that's going under Roman titles, those are Moors. Constantine was a Moor. All your kings and tyrants were Moors. You have different sets of Moors. You have Moorish Persians, Moorish Greeks, Moorish Romans, Moorish Jews now. All this culminates to Moorish Jews, who in the time of Prophet Noble Drew Ali existed. This is how he got the information. You see in the background Moorish, and then you see Jews, Moorish Jews. This is more recent in the 1900s. So these people have been very paramount into slavery. These people right here, as you see, the Moorish Zionist temple of the Moorish Jews. So in the past, these people would be called Moorish Babylon, Moorish Persia, Moorish Jerusalem, and you got today Moorish Jews. These would be where your many languages come from: Greek, Moorish Greek, Moorish Italian. We know about Moorish Spain, Moorish Portugal, and all that Moorish territory is what they was calling the Moorish Empire. That became known as Al-Andalus, that was located in the Iberian Peninsula. So the Iberian Peninsula is the Moorish side of things. So when you go in history and you hear about the Great Bering Strait crossing, the Bering Strait, this is a rewriting of history by the Moors. This is when all land, what you would say Pangea, was called Eurasia, where America and Asia was connected. And so today, through Moorish thought, they have caused division through Moorish geography and Moorish metrology. So these things and these sciences are all called Moorish magic. So let's, like I said, the Iberian Peninsula. You see, this is the area located of the Iberian Peninsula. So you have there in that gauge right onto Florida, not Florida, but Africa. So this is why Moorish has a connection to European and African. And this is all later day names changing the proper names of Abraham, and the Marab. So this is what's known as Al-Andalus. And this is where you get all your universities and all the things that then they lead to Algiers and Morocco and all these things that still swing from the Iberian Peninsula culture, which is a separate culture from the Arabian Peninsula, which would be where the understanding comes in. So you see how all of the Arabian Peninsula was connected to Asia and Africa. So all that was called Pangea. Then it became Eurasia. So these are Moorish titles covering up the ancient history of Abraham, the father of all Arabia and the East. So there's a distinct group here between Marab and Moors. Now we can pin that the Moors got their name from the original Marab. So you can do a common Google search. And so the same people that have the same skin as Arabs are known as Moorish. And we're going to bring this in to bring this understanding to Abraham. If you familiar into your scholarship, uh, Abraham was told by the Creator to leave. So we're going to find out why. It's not only was when you read about the idol worshiping that his father was doing, being the maker and creator of idols, worshipped as gods. This is also included that while men had plenty to eat and drink, these men that had plenty to eat and drink was called Moors. They did not respect life or any law of Allah to this day. Instead, like animals, these Moors preyed upon one another until one day the great man known as Abraham, Abraham was born. Allah spoke to Abraham and told him to build a great city called Ubaru. This is what later day became known as Europe in modern names. And then Europe started on the Marab River that did once travel in the south of Arabia, connecting Great Lakes and into the Persian Sea. With guidance from Allah, Abraham gave the people their first law. See, but the Moorish people rebelled against Abraham and the law of Allah by sacrificing children and animals to pagan gods. This was what was going on between the separation of why they are called dirty Moors. They named you black. Who? A Moor. So what we did not know that the great place known as Babel is a Moorish city. Check this out. Sufar 69, Babylon, Babel. Let the truth be now revealed concerning the most ancient city of Babel. This is the most ancient Moorish city. It's called Babylon. The most ancient Moorish city. Now check this out. Upon the great peril and conflict against the Marab people. See what happened? Moorish Babylon created a conflict against the Marab indigenous people. So that's how it all started. And so Sargon was from our side, from Arabia, to defeat the first forces of the separate Moorish cities of Sumerians. The great city of Eridu was captured, and the land of Mesopotamia and Tigris was conquered. The court of Eridu settled upon a new city called Mary. See, and this is where you start getting the name. So check this out now. Upon the death of Sargon of Arabia, the Moors attacked the south. Babel was formed as their Moorish capital. Yet these Moors of Babel, these Moors of Babylon, with all their wisdom, refused to honor the one creator. Instead, the Moors regarded themselves as above all men, as the priests of all priests. In their Moorish hubris and arrogance, the Moors became the architects of religion. They formed Moorish stories and texts which found their way to all quarters of the world of history. That is all Moorish history covered up by the Moors of the people of Arabia. Now check this out. When the lands were in ruin, we're talking about Babylon. When it became ruined, the Moorish priests of Babel seized control and formed the religion of Mithra. Then again, under the terrible reign of the Aryan princes, the Moors formed the religion of Manes. Thus, the poison of the world begins from Moorish Babylon, Babel, known as Babel. Now check this out now. We're going to go back to Barbary. Remember, these people are the Berbers, and the Berbers are the Barbary. Now check this out. The Barbary, we got the barbarian, here we come. Perhaps a native name, perhaps an Arabic word for Barbara, to babble confusedly. See, so the barbarians, aka the North Africans, aka the Moors, was very great at babbling. The poison of the world begins from Babel, from Babylon. The falsity, all the falsehoods in all these texts and stories begins from the Moorish capital, Babylon, known as Babel. The confusion and curse of the world begins from Babel. Though its walls have been taken and its scribes silenced, Babel still calls to corrupt and destroy through the alliance of the Uthman and the scholars of the Mani. The Uthman, did you know that's Paul? Paul was a Moor. I'm talking about Paul of the New Testament. Paul was a Moor. The Jews and the Romans, who in their story crucified Jesus, they would have been Moors. Moors are given these signals to be carried out. As we're reading it right now, we're going into the history of archives. As the Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali told us to go back to the time of the Moors and study this Moorish history, and you will come out of this slavery. So here we go. The Moors still called to corrupt and destroy through the alliance with Paul and the scholars of the Manes. So believe nothing which has come from this terrible Moorish city called Babylon. For Babylon is seated in hatred of the divine. Did we catch that? The Moorish thought is seated in the hatred of the divine. And arrogant Moorish priests who see themselves as gods amongst men. Let me line you up now, so you understand why Noble Drew Ali revealed these texts. You are each one. Let's see, watch this. Each one. Let me try that again. There we go, right here. So I want to check that out. Out of the text that Noble Drew Ali brought forth, this is why it has this in here. Check this out. When men are afraid of Allah and take him for a foe, they dress up other men in fancy garbs and call them priests, and charge them to restrain the wrath of Allah by prayers, and when they fail to win his favors by their prayers, to buy him off with sacrifice of animals or birds. Didn't we just read that about? This is why Abraham was born and gave them the law, but they rebelled. They rather sacrifice animals and lives. So let's get back to the text 22. When man sees Allah as one with himself, as Father Allah, he needs no middleman, no priest. That go to priest of Babel, the Moorish priest, to intercede. He goes straight up to Allah and says, my Father God, Allah. And then he lays his hand in Allah's own hand, and all is well. And this is Allah. You are each one a priest just for yourself, and sacrifice of life Allah does not want. So that takes us back to these are the arrogant priests in line 12 that regarded themselves as above all men. That the Moorish priest was the priest of all priests. See, so these are right here. Some other Moorish titles is Persians, Chaldeans, Aryans, Mithrayans, Judeans. These were the exiles of false pharaohs, the exiles of Egypt. These are the pirates and merchants that formed an alliance against Allah with the Jews, the Moorish Jews held as slaves by the Babylonians. The Moorish kings that ruled worshiping darkness and black magic. That's what we got, the blackamoor there. People calling themselves black is under the blackamoor's Moorish magic of black magic. What is the significance of this Moorish magic or black magic? Moorish magic or black magic that ruled cursing all the name of Allah. This is what black magic or Moorish magic have you doing. The divine creator is X'd out. Let me tell you some more, share some more history of truth we didn't know until it's revealed. The Moors, the Moorish, are the founders of the false religion of Mithra. The rulers under Darius were Moorish, and that they created the false scriptures of Mithra. The founders of the false Moorish religion, remember these are the architects of religion, of Judaism. So this is where you get the Jews and the Romans working together for the crucifixion, for the said crucifixion. The founders of the false Moorish religion of Judaism in worshiping the Moorish Roman Empire emperor as Lucifer. Did we catch that? All these are Moorish curses to indigenous people known as Marab Arab. Don't forget that spelling. So now all these Jews, these Romans, all these are Moors. King, Queen, Lucifer, Satan. We finna see all this was by Moors. the Moorish emperor Vespasian, and Josephus, son of Mithra, priest Matthew. That's where you get the New Testament book. This is why the New Testament opened up with the book of Matthew. The Moors are the founders of that whole New Testament. That's after all this destruction has came, and then the Old Testament was the great conflict to the Marab from the Moorish Babels, the Moorish Babels. Oh, so when you hear the word about Baal, Baal is talking about Babel. Let me show you some more now. The founders of the false religion, the founders of the false Moorish religion of Menes. So, and the wicked corruptions of the Talmud. All these are Moorish inventions and Moorish thoughts dealing with, like Bobby Hemming said, Moors and magic. So now, the creation of a faith of darkness and worship of demons. This is what the Moors did. They created the creation of a faith of darkness and worship of demons under Ar Yah, Aryan's Arda Shah, and then his grandson, Ra. See, look at the coining. They coining things with our name. Moorish Persia and Moorish Babylon be the birthplace of unspeakable evil, because of the evil inflicted upon them by the pharaohs of the realm, the Pharaohs, by the French, the Moors, or the Franskins, or the Franks and the Franciscans. These Moorish brethrens and brotherhoods. Thus the abused became the abuser. So Moors was abused, and then by the pharaohs, and then they became the abuser. The victims, the oppressor. No greater hatred against the divine and against all life be the madness of the scribes of hate in Babylon. Did we catch that? The Moors of Babylon carry so much hatred against the divine and against all life. No men so affected by addiction, lighthead, and drunkenness. People that's been addicted, lightheaded, and drunkenness have not written such filth against divine law than the insane scribes, the insane Moorish scribes of Moorish Babylon, the land of the Moors, Berber, Barbary, Babel. Yet, the Moorish anger and hatred against Allah has no end. The dirty Moors, in their anger and hatred against Allah, has no end, for they do not know its beginning. Thus, Moorish history repeats itself upon the merchants and the Umayyad, corporations and the military, institutions and the military. in those seen as possessing special powers, in those seen as possessing special powers, that's the Moors and magic, once again rally the poor, the fearful, and the ignorant to do their Moorish bidding. Now, is that not the truth that we at today? So all the places, Jerusalem, Moorish, Constantine, Moorish, Rome, Moorish. Let's get into some things we didn't know about Moorish Rome. Here it come right here. This is the truth of the proud birth of Moorish Rome that has been since abandoned and mere ruins for more than, there go the number Noble Drew Ali put on the cover, right? 7. There go that Moorish 7. 7 generations. Check this out. The Moors be the sea peoples of the island of Greece. They call Atlantis, meaning the magical horse who created Moorish Rome. Did we get that? So this is how you get Moorish. These be the most ancient descendants of Yahuda. The Yahuda is the Moorish. The descendants of the Moorish is the Moors from the sea peoples of the island of Greece. They called Atlantis. Atlantis was Moorish. Rome was Moorish. Constantine Moorish. Antioch Moorish. Jerusalem Moorish. Babel Moorish. Let's continue. So who carrying the descent of the Moors? Jews. Yahuda. The Yahuda, the Jews who came to the island, who came to the Moorish island, the Romans called Pegasus. The Moorish Romans called the island of Greece Pegasus. So it was called Atlantis, then it by the Moors, then they descendants, the Moorish, called it Pegasus. Pegasus was his name after the fall of Ugarit to the Egyptians. To the Egyptians, who are Arabians. Two Moorish cities did the Moors build. 2 cities the Moorish did build. Now check this out. The first they called Sumer. Sumer, which the Moorish Greeks called Chalcis, but which the Moorish Romans called Remus. These that myth you was hearing about, Romans and Remulus, Atlantis. I hope you're getting what you need. The other city upon the island, the Moorish island of Atlantis, the Jews called Solomon, which the Moorish Greeks called Eritrea, and the Moorish Romans called Romulus. Look what's going down. All this is going down upon the time of Jeremiah, the great prophet of Yale. upon the time of the great holy priest Jeremiah, the great prophet of Yale, Elephantine Island. Upon that time of Jeremiah, the great uniting of the Moorish peoples under the law of Torah as a new covenant. You hear that? As a new covenant, that would be your New Testament. You see, the new covenant was the Torah, and the Torah was the covenant of the uniting of the people of Elephantine Island and the Moorish people under the law of Torah as a new covenant. But guess what? The Moorish Jews refused. They refused to unite and instead fought. They fought against the Hebrew tribe. All your writings of the prophets, when you hear that struggle within the writings of the prophets, this is what the struggle is. These descendants of Moors, these Moorish Jews, Yahudah, they refused the law of Torah and instead fought on the island of Elephantine Island. So now to the Persians, the Moorish men of Atlantis did appeal, and with the might of Darius of Persia, did conquer Moorish Italy, Moorish Spain, Al-Andalus, and found a new city and found a new Moorish city first called Satan. So this is where you get the 5 descendant names of Adam and Eve: Lucifer, Satan, devil, dragon, beast. So let me pull this up. So when you reading the one-on-one questionnaires, so when you come across where it says that what people represent the lower self, those who were cast out of the holy city, and those who accept their teachings, this is what that is referring to. These are the Moorish Jews who refused to unite under the law of Torah and instead fought. Just like they fought against the Marab, they fought against the Hebrew. This was located in Egypt. The Hebrew tribes is located in Egypt. The Marab is located in Asia, specifically Arabia, in the Arabian Peninsula. So now this is going on Khufu, land of Khufu, or Elephantine Island, or Yale, or in the book what they call Job in the biblical, in the Moorish text, the book of Job, that's Yale. So this is what's going down. So Moorish Spain was conquered by the Moors, or the descendants of the Moors, the Moorish Jews. and they founded a new city called Satan. Then time passed upon the might of Xerxes, another Moor. The Moorish men of Atlantis did rename their city Rome. Why did the Moors rename their city Rome? Moorrome. Why did the Moors rename their city Rome? When in Rome, do as Rome. Why? As a curse against the Egyptian people, the Hebrew people, against the law of Torah, and the one true divine creator. These are the Moorish Romans now. The Moorish Romans said, wherever there be light, the men of Atlantis, the men there's Moors, the Moors of Atlantis swore in hatred against the divine to put it out. Remember what did Allah's son, the holy prophet Noble Drew Ali, to do what? He said to reveal the secrets of Rome. Moorish Rome. And he did just that in plain sight, open, in public domain. So here's that contribution to that magnificent strength and stance for righteousness and for the world to see and document it. And known where all this evil was birthed from. Know who called you black, who called you African, why you don't know your identity, why you don't know who you are, why your people are asleep in a slumber. And they did it through what they call Moorish science. That is the magic. That is the Moorish magic used on us to divide our home so the devil and Beelzebub can play all day. Until the sleeping slumber of Adam wakes up. And what happened when Adam was asleep? They took a rib. And so now the rib must wake up. And I hope we get it. The rib is the raw. The rib is the raw. That indigenous wisdom, that spiritual divinity, that Allah. These Moors of Rome also said, where there be knowledge and science, the Moorish Romans swore against heaven. These people swore in hatred against the divine to put the divine out, what they call the light. Put the divine out Then they said, wherever there be knowledge and science, the Romans or the Moors swore against heaven to destroy all culture. That was the purpose of spreading the Bible and the Quran through the four quarters of the earth as world history. Where there be harmony, the Moors of the city of Satan brought bloodshed and war. Many generations and wars did pass with the Romans true to their curse, conquering the world and bringing only misery and bloodshed, until Allah saw fit to bring plague after plague upon the Romans, the Moors, until they grew fearful in their hubris. Thus the scorpions fell upon each other, with each Moor house killing the other. The Roman Moor against the Roman Moor, the Moorish son against the Moorish father, the Moorish mother against the Moorish child, till Moors was in turmoil. One by one, the superstitions and Moorish magic of the Moors failed. The false Persian Moorish religion of Mithra, to whom all the legions swore, was destroyed upon the destruction of the temple of Mithra at Moorish Jerusalem by the Nazarenes. The false Persian religion of Moorish Judaism, in which the Moorish emperor Vespasian made himself savior, and Lucifer, the light bringer, failed upon the destruction of Heliopolis. Even upon the arrival of Moorish Constantine the Moor, the Moorish families could not control themselves, killing their own in the hope of appeasing the great Moorish emperor. Thus Rome destroyed itself. Thus the Moors destroyed itself. It devoured itself until in the end the legions of Christian Moors from Antioch swept down and destroyed the den of serpents forever. To their old home of Tunis and North Africa, upon the ruins of Carthage, the Moorish families did escape to hide and plot their revenge. Now, Moors have become the merchants and cheats that seek to corrupt the wisdom of the people of Arabia. To corrupt the wisdom of the people of Arabia. These once noble Moorish families have become petty robbers, dirty Moors, to try and gain the frankincense trade. This is the story of Moorish Rome. What an incredible history and outline we have. What a incredible history and outline we have. That is Moorish history to prove Abraham is not a Moor, so his descendants are not Moors. And his descendants came to America. And so we in America are not Moors, nor was our first father Abraham. Those was Moorish stories and Moorish texts to confound and confuse and poison the world with the evil from Moorish priests who ruled and worshiped black magic to curse divine law and the law and the wisdom of our law. Marab, Marab or Rab is our indigenous name before a blackamoor came and made a change to the indigenous people of Marab or Rab. Moors do not smoke cannabis. Moors do not smoke cannabis. Or Moors will cloak themselves if they're around people that do. Smoking cannabis is an Abraham custom. Smoking cannabis is a Marab Arab gift of life. Smoking cannabis is an indigenous way of healing and curing. This is why black people are locked up for cannabis. And the key thrown away. But we on the way to return for what's ours. Arab, Arab, the descendants of Abraham. Hey, that's so we can go through before we get out of here. This is why the Moorish seven basically have majority of the religions inside of it. So it starts off in chapter 2 with then chapter 3 is the unity of life. Chapter 4 is the death and burial of Elizabeth, the ministry of death. That's happening in Egypt. Zoan. Chapter 5 is the feast and the missing Jesus, the search for him. His parents find him in the temple and he goes with them to Nazareth. Symbolic meaning the carpenter's tool. See, that go the carpenter tool, that's the architecture the Moors was hiding through masonry. So best believe now, you got to watch these things real closely. So chapter 6 is life and works of Jesus in India. So that go in India and all of their philosophies of India. So we wouldn't care if it's uh, non-dualism or dualism, Advaita Vedanta, even Buddha. We're talking about Jainism, Hinduism, Buddhism, Sikhism, all of the Indian that you would call that. And that was amongst the Muslims. So the word Muslims come from the practices that practice over there in India. So there's a difference between a Muslim and a Muslim. A Muslim is still a dirty Moor, a Musalim, a Musan, a Musalim will always be righteous. They can't, their nature is righteous, so they can't convert. But these other nationalities and Moors can. Moors are Muslims, not Muslims. But this is the cloaking. Let me show you. Let me show you. See, these what these Moors would do. Yet these Moors found a way to cloak themselves as Muslims. This is what Noble Drew Ali was talking about, dirty Moors. Who is the dirty Moors? These devils. Dirty Moors found a way to cloak them. See, they're not Muslims, they Muslims. They Muslims. So now when we understand it, where all this comes from, yeah, we see it right there, don't we? So that's the Muslim. So chapter 7 is the friendship of Jesus and basically Islam, but they rewrite it as Lamis. Jesus explained Islam. Islam means the meaning of truth, but they changed it to Lamis. Okay, chapter 8, Jesus reveals to the people their sinful ways. That was on that concept of sin that was created. The Moorish sin. Chapter 9, Jesus attends a feast in Bahar, and here he taught human equality. Jesus spake on the unity of Allah and man to the Hindus. So Hinduism, as you see, Jesus and Bharata together they read the sacred books. The Jewish Moorish Psalms, prophets. That's the whole Vedic system. They read the Persian Moorish Zoroastrianism and the wisdom of Gautama. That's your Tripitaka, your sutras, your Buddhism, Dhammapada. So all those, as they read and talked about possibilities of man. Then it goes to Jesus teaches the common people at a spring, tells them how to obtain eternal life, which is eternal happiness. The life and works of Jesus in Egypt amongst the Gentiles. Amongst the Gentiles, the Moorish offspring. Next, chapter 14 is John the Harbinger returns to Hebron, lives as a hermit in the wilds, and visit Jerusalem, Moorish Jerusalem, and speaks to the people. Chapter 15, Jesus goes to the wilderness for self-examination, where he remains 40 days, is subject to three temptations: thought, words, and deeds, Moorish science, Moorish magic. He overcomes, returns to the camps of John, and begins teaching. Chapter 16, Pilate's final effort to release Jesus fails. He washes his hands and feigned innocence, delivers Jesus to the Moors for execution, and the Moorish soldiers drive him to Calvary. Chapter 17, Jesus appears fully materialized before Roman Apollo, the Greek Apollo Brotherhood in Greece, appears to Claudia and Judas on the Tigris near Rome. There go all your Jews and Moors. David and Solomon taught. Appears to the Egyptian temple at Heliopolis. We just covered Lucifer, Rome, the Moors. Chapter 18 is the resurrection of Jesus. The Pilate places the Roman seal upon the stone door of the tomb. That's the Hiram Abiff Masonic law. At midnight, a company of the Silent Brothers march about the tomb. The soldiers are armed. Jesus preaches to the spirits in prison. Early Sunday morning, he rises from the tomb. We know that's a Moorish Sunday, Christian Moors. The soldiers are bribed by the priests, Babylon priests, to say that the disciples had stolen the body. See, there go to Babel, the lie. We just covered all this. This is why this covers all the religions. Chapter 19. Jesus appears fully materialized to the Eastern sages in the palace of Prince Ravana in India, to the Magi, the priests in Persia, to the three wise men speaking praise of the personality of the Nazarene. All that Moorish. Jesus is not a Moor. Jesus is a Marab or Ra. Jesus is his holy name. So that's the end of that piece. So then you got the end of, they got some more. Those come from texts that was put together, divinely prepared. Yeah, these were listed divinely prepared from other texts. And those texts are not Arabian friendly. They tell you to think not. They'll show you. You make a double. So yeah, afterwards, because it'll take me back. I'm gonna get through Misery. That's a good one to read. Look, divine origin of the Asiatic nation. There go your divine origin of Asiatic. See, Asiatic and African is two totally different. Asiatic is Abraham. That's not more. The beginning of Christianity, that's the Christianity of Moors. Satan. So you have Egypt. Now you know Khufu, Elephantine Island, Yale, the capital empire of the dominion of Here we go. The Iberian Peninsula, Africa. Moor, the Dominion Empire of Moors. That's your Moorish Empire. So this is why in here you will see they use the word ham. The ham is a biblical copy of the biblical ham. And that's why they say Africa, but that's not Abraham. So these are Jewish texts writing themselves in to our illustrious Asiatic status. See, so right here it would be we're giving the Asiatics of America who were Arab descent, Marab descent. She's still African. And if you know you're not African, then you know you're not Moorish. These are the end of time and the fulfilling of the prophecies. And then we have the end of that. Then there's something called the one-on-ones. And this is where you get questions like, who made you? Allah. Who is Allah? Allah is the creator of existence. So these things go into answering things that we haven't heard of. So I want to point some things out. So that's why they have Ruth in here. Ruth go back to Moabite. The Moabite, that's a Moorish sorcery of Marab. So then they say, where's the Moorish Empire? Africa, Egypt. What is the modern name of a Mexican? Africa. Iberian Peninsula, Al-Andalus. What is the title given to a ruler in Morocco, a sultan? Moorish. All that is Moorish. See, that's our word, Al-Sufian, is the Arab Marab word. And you know they, just like they jacked Marab and put more in, they jacked Al-Sufian and put Sultan. So all that is an insult to our wisdom of Allah. So who did we get the name Jesus from the East? From the Moors. Jesus made the Moors. Moors made the name Jesus. What does the name Jesus mean? Jesus means justice. Did the angel give to the child that was called Jesus a holy name? Yes. See, but it cannot be used by those who are slaves to sin. So that's what Moors do. They keep hiding secrets from another. And that's Jesus' holy name is Jesus. What is an angel? An angel is an Injil. Let's make this clear. The Injil is not the New Testament. The Injil is not the four Gospels. The Injil is the higher self. That's why there are no books of Jesus, because Jesus was the Injil, meaning the higher mind, the higher thought. So what will come after Jesus would be the teachings of Jesus. And that's where it say all truth shall be revealed to you, and you shall be son of comfort. So that's talking about what we're just talking about here. So those who still a slave to sin call him Jesus. Those who not know his truth. Jill is a thought of Allah manifested in human flesh. Manifested in the mind, in the human mind. What are angels used for? To carry messages to the four corners of the world, to all nations. What is the everlasting gospel? This was the Injil. What is the everlasting gospel? The gospel was the Injil. But we had to get the name of the Injil, and it's called Al-Sufian. Al-Sufian is the name of the everlasting gospel. Al-Sufian is a saving power that comes from Allah through our ancient father, his first prophet, who honored Allah, Abraham, where we get the word Arab, Marab, Arab, Muslim, Al-Sufian, Islam, Marab, Allah, Sufa, Torah. What is the covenant of the great God that was given by Abraham? And what age did Jesus begin to teach? What did he teach? What is truth? Truth is all. What is all? All is Allah. So the truth that make you free is Allah. The knowledge of Allah, Al-Sufian, is what makes you free. Can truth change? No, truth cannot change nor pass away. What other name do we give to truth? Al-Sufian, or holy breath. What have you to say about Al-Sufian or holy breath? All we can say is it is great, it is good, it was, it is, and evermore to be Al-Mumi. At what place on earth was the physical part of man formed? In the Garden of Eden. Where is the Garden of Eden? In the land of Al-Dukan, in the city of Al-Bakar. So Dukan is right here, the indigenous word for the land of Marab. So the land of Canaan is the land of Al-Dukan, if you want to say it like that. And so that was the holy land, and then the holy city, they say, is Mecca. It's called Al-Bakar. I'm going to show you. See right here. Mecca comes from the Uthman, the Moors. Then the faithful shall wipe clean the curse and abominations of Uthman and the people of Mecca. The people of Mecca is, there we go right there, Maqwa. Mecca is not the original name. Mecca is the Moorish name given to Al-Bakar, where you get Moorish words like Kabbalah, Moorish words like Mecca, Kaaba. And so the true name of Mecca was Al-Bakar. Read this right here. 14. While Al-Bakar was countless generations a place respected even by enemies of culture and knowledge, the false prophet of Syria. We just read about Syria, that known as Paul Uthman, coveted it as a means of power and control. Thus, Paul the Uthman did take the sacred city and falsely Al-Bakar and falsely named it Mecca. So this is why it's important why I'm doing this. See, these are Moorish names. These are Moorish remixes, Moorish manipulations. So now we know where the Garden of Eden is. It's the land of Al-Dukan, and we know where the city is, Al-Bakar. So now let's get, what is the modern name for the Garden of Eden? Al-Bakar. What is the name of the first physical man? His name cannot be used only by executive. See, they go that Moorish stuff. That's where you say Abraham. What are the words of the AC of the MSTA? A depth chain of the Moorish signs. Who were Adam and Eve? They are the mothers and fathers of the human family. Asiatics and Muslims. They got Asiatics and Muslims. Where did they go? They went into Asia. What is the modern name given to their children? Asiatics. Who is guarding the holy city of Mecca, of Al-Bakr, to keep the unbelievers away? The angels. The Injil. We're talking about within the heart. What is the modern name of these angels? Asiatics. Arabs. It would be saying Marab, Arabs. We got to get very specific. Asiatic is a big landmass, the largest landmass. So to get very specific is Arab, but we do not speak Arabic. Arabs do not speak Arabic. Arabic is Moorish. Arabic is Moorish. Now we speak Asiatic now. We speak Asiatic. Now who is their shade of their skin? Oh, not black. Olive, alive. Olive, alive. Darker, not black. Are the Moorish Americans any relation to these angels? These are the key keys here. Yes, we all have the same father and mother. See, and that's what the Moors broke away from, knowing that we was all one. So then you see the upside down pentagram for Baphomet, created by the Moors, was given 5 names that are given to the descendants of Adam and Eve. These the Moorish descendants of Adam and Eve. Lucifer is a Moor, Satan is a Moor, devil is a Moor, dragon is a Moor, beast is a Moor. I'm saying that because we're finna come to this. What is the Moor sometimes called? The lower self. How many selves are there? 2. Name them. The higher self and the lower self. What people represent the higher self? The Injil, who protect the holy mind of Al-Bakr. What people represent the lower self? The Moors, who was cast out of the Al-Bakr, the divine mind, and those who accept their Moorish teachings. What is the higher self? That's the Injil. The Injil is the mother of the virtues and the harmonies of life, and breeds justice, mercy, love, and right. Can the Injil pass away? No. Why? Because Injil is Allah in man, the higher self in man, the angel. What does the lower self breed? What does the lower self breed? What does the Moor breed? Remember, men of bloodshed and war from the city of Satan. Hatred, slander, lewdness, murders, theft, and everything that harms. You tell me what happened to Noble Drew Ali. What did the higher self say to the lower self at one time when he met? So what did the Arab say to the Moor at one time when he met him? Where are you going, Moor? What was the answer that the Moor gave to the Arab? The Moor said, I'm going to and fro the earth, seeking whom I may devour. Has the Moor finished the task of devouring? Yes. When was the Moorish time declared out? When he nailed Jesus, which is Judas, on the cross. That's Satan. I hope you've seen my other tape, my other studies. Jesus of the Bible is Judas. And Judas represents the Jew. And so you have heard me say devil is a Jew and Satan is a Jew. And so now we know that the Moor, Satan is a Moor. And he will lie to you more. So the Moor been dead on the cross. In 6:10 on the Sabbath, What are the last words Jesus uttered? It is finished. The Moors are finished. What did he have reference to? He had reference to the end of Moorish war, the end of the Moors. Did Jesus say he will return to conquer him? Yes. What is the name of the person into whom Jesus was first reincarnated? His name Al-Sufian, not Prophet Muhammad, the conqueror. Al-Sufian, Al-Hamid. Prophet Muhammad is the Moorish Baphomet. Was Satan was the Moor to be bound then? Moors was bound to be bound in part. When was the head of Satan taken out? 1453. That's 16. And they look Moorish or Christian Persian time, 1453. By whom? Al-Sufian. That was 16. Name some of the marks that the Moors used on us, on the Arabs, the Marab, Al-Dukan in 1774. The Moors put Negro, Black, Colored, Ethiopian, African, Christian today, and Jew. Negro, a name given to a river in the West African by the Moors, because it contained black water. So we know Moorish black or Moors, according to science, means death. Can a man be a Negro, Black, Colored, or Ethiopian? No. Why? Because man in jail is made in the image and after the likeness of God, Allah. What title does Moors give himself? God. The Moorish is what called themselves God. And he going to and fro, devouring who he can. Will you define Moorish white means purity. Purity means God, and God means ruler of the land. That's why you call the white man white from the Moors. To whom do we refer to at times as being the great almighty, divine creator, the great spirit, Allah. Is a Moor made in the image and likeness of Allah? No. A Moor is a shadow. A Moor is the shadow of our lower selves and will pass away. Who made the Moor? Elohim. Who is Elohim? Al Hakim. Wisdom is who made a Moor. Wisdom made the Moor. And wisdom is the 7 creative spirits. Circle 7. That created everything that ever was, is, and evermore to be. I'm in. What is Elohim sometimes called? The 7 wisdoms of Allah. How many days are in a circle? 10. 10 days. How many days are in creation? 10 days. According to Moorish science, how many days are in a year? 7. According to Arab, Marab, Abraham, it'll be 1. And what's inside this 1 day is 10. And from the 10, they got 7. So we just cleared that up. Yep, we just cleared that up. And so now the game is over. The game is over. So we finna get ready to hit it. I don't see no comments. I done gave over an hour. I knew it was gonna be. Thank you for your time and precious moments. I hope this have given you saving power, as it have for myself. Never worship self. Worship Allah, and remember the indigenous name of all indigenous people before the Moors came, and where they stole the word more from is Marab, Arab. So all Marab, Arab are Al-Sufian by nature. So we signing in the Al-Fatiha. As-salam, as-salam, Abraham, Al-Sufian.